You appear to be pretty smart and good looking, so click subscribe and then notifications so I can compliment you more in the future, okay? There are basic elements automotive enthusiasts want for a good time: the right roads, a fun car, and decent weather. In my week with the BMW X2 M35i, I got 2 out of 3, and while the conditions are disappointing, the drivetrain pitches in to help. All-wheel drive isn't just for snow, it's good for sloppy, soggy conditions too. And being an X vehicle, this is the kind of practical BMW that helps with the chores. Okay, so the burning question is this a crossover? Is it a hatchback? Does it matter? It's a lot of fun. Used to be I'd be saying this about a 3 Series sedan, but times and tastes have changed to crossovers and SUVs. Though if I'm going to be on point, BMW's marketing people call the X2 a sports activity coupe. Think of it as a lower, sportier take on the X1. I know this is not a sedan, but bear with me for a moment. For those who think that the 3 Series has become too big and really love the size of the E30 in the 80s and the E36 in the 90s, the length of the X2 slots right in between those two. It's the perfect size for a driving machine. It is wider by a couple inches, nothing wrong with that. It makes the cabin more enjoyable. It can also be made retina-searing orange, though BMW calls this Magna Red Dakota leather. It's optional, $1,450, and the chairs are very good at holding you in place during hard cornering. Nicely done. Yes, there's an M in front of the 35i badge, but this is not an M2. M performance cars like this get a bump up in capability. It rides 10 millimeters lower than the standard X2 28i, and the dampers can be adjustable for firmness if so optioned. Brakes are beefed up, and the all-wheel drive system can route all torque to the hindquarters if needed. In the propulsion department, the 2-liter twin-power turbocharged 4-cylinder produces 302 horsepower and 332 pound-feet of torque. It's moving a 3,700-pound car. This engine features a reinforced crankshaft, larger main bearings, new pistons, and a larger turbo. Upgraded cooling, too. The 8-speed automatic has launch control. A new front sport differential has torsion-based limited slip capabilities with up to a 39% lockup. You can change the character of the car, even add gauges if you want. Bases are covered. Thinking about moving to the Pacific Northwest? It is like this a lot, which is good for testing rain-sensing wipers and the bite of all-wheel drive. No fuss, no muss. In optimal conditions, it'll do the 0 to 60 dash in just under 5 seconds, which is about a second and a half quicker than the 28i version. Top speed is 130 miles an hour, 150 with performance tires. In these conditions, that's not happening. Am I going to be pushing it hard today? No. Because the last time I did that out here in a Volkswagen GTI, I ended up in this cornfield. Drive to conditions, and these tires aren't exactly optimized for the rain. Surprisingly, there's not much hydroplaning. The X2 feels very stable. In the corners, it can feel like a rear-wheel drive biased machine. You can sense the back tires stepping out in a controlled manner when pushed. In a way, I kind of prefer these M performance cars over the pure M cars because they have just the right amount of power to have fun with, and the suspension is something that you can live with every day. That's not something you can really say about the M3s and M4s. You really need to take those on a track to fully wring them out. This one, you can put your foot into it, bomb around a bit, and still keep things in control, because you never know what might be coming around the corner. I really like the driving dynamics of this car. It's very balanced, it goes wherever you point it, effortlessly, telepathically. It's terrific, the kind of handling that BMW built its reputation on. Analog gauges are clear and very easy to read. I prefer this setup to the new digital cluster that BMW is installing in its cars these days. The engine is a nice soundtrack. Not as throaty as BMW's inline 6, but it's fun enough. Inside, the noise level is just right for a driver's car. Same with the suspension. The biggest complaint is sharp bumps. You'll feel them because of the low-profile tires. Drive modes do make a difference. It is noticeable. Put it into sport and everything firms up. The steering weight, throttle response, transmission mapping, suspension. Put it into comfort and everything relaxes. That's the mode you'll take the in-laws out to dinner in. They'll appreciate automatic emergency braking and lane departure warning. Stop and go adaptive cruise control is optional. The brake pads skim water away from the discs on a regular basis, so there's less drama in emergencies. The automatic engine start-stop system is noticeable and defeatable. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but there is no manual transmission available on this car, but the automatic is terrific. Snappy shifts, always in the right gear. It's entertaining in its own way. Fuel economy is what you'd expect from a high-performance, all-wheel drive, hatchback-y, crossover, wagon-y-like vehicle. I think I covered all the bases there. The EPA gives it a score of 25 miles per gallon. That's the average. I saw 23 overall because rain affects efficiency, and I drove it hard whenever I could. Hey, it's fun. Did I mention that? Heads up, shield to your eyes. Here's another shot of the interior. You'll save money by going with classic black, but I'll admit this is growing on me. The space is pure BMW, materials are solid, ergonomics are excellent, the Harman Kardon system is punchy and rich. There's a good amount of storage in here, so that's not a concern. The optional sunroof, or in this case, rain roof, is larger than most. I might not like the electronic joystick shifter, but iDrive should please just about anyone. The voice commands are pretty good, or there's the controller, or touchscreen, and it can even read handwriting. Keep in mind, Android is not supported, but Apple is. A real positive is that CarPlay is wireless. You don't have to plug it in. However, the big negative is that BMW famously makes you pay for it. Annually. Go ahead, boo hiss, I'll wait. Got it out of your system? Good. Maybe the ambient lighting will make you feel better. It's dramatic. So is this chair adjusted for a good driving position?
Perfectly. I'm 5'9". How's it for you?
Yeah, it's fine. Wouldn't want to be any taller, though. I have just enough headroom. Knee and foot room is generous, and the cushions are high, so thigh support is excellent. I'd like heated seats, though. That's not happening. I've got room to put things, and all my electronics can be charged. Yay for that. And that ambient lighting is back here, too. The driveshaft tunnel isn't too big, but you won't want 3 people in back for long periods of time. 2 will be okay, as long as they aren't long in the torso.
Fortunately, there's a slight lull in the weather, so I can do this test. I mean, seriously, rain and this stuff do not mix.
The X2 is pretty useful unless you need a spare tire. BMW is big on run flats. Like a lot of its cars, there's some nice touches in the trunk to make life easier. One thing not included are seat releases in the back. As you can see, I need to go around to the side and drop them. I wouldn't call it a deal breaker, but it is inconvenient. Making up for that, though, is the ability to put long stuff down the middle. I'm a skier. And the X2 will take on a decent amount of cargo for its size. Don't forget, there's that section under the floor that will almost hold a full pack. So while this is 5 bundles of TP, I'll score it at 6. Now that buyers are choosing SUVs and crossovers over sedans, machines like the X2 should be pretty popular. And the M35i, with its frisky nature, is appealing. If you can afford it. A base model at around $47,500 is all the car you really need for a good time. How far off is that from a Volkswagen Golf R? About $7,000 if you could find one. This one, with the roof, the visual caffeine, premium package, and upgraded tunes, retails for $55,000. And maybe the future is electric. The Volvo XC40 Recharge and Tesla Model Y will be competition in late 2020. But for now, the X2 M35i is ready for fun, rain or shine. No fair weather friend. It's the kind of machine a driver can enjoy anytime. I do the best I can to give you good information and excellent video quality. Would have loved to have shot some drone shots, but I didn't even think of launching mine in this weather. Even if it flew, the shot would have probably looked like this after 30 seconds in the air.
Thanks for sticking around to the very end. This is the part where I beg and plead with you to click subscribe and then notifications, because the more people that subscribe, the better the algorithm is for this channel, so then I can do more car reviews. You see where I'm going here? So please, subscribe and then notifications, okay? Thanks a lot. That's Driven. I'm Tom Voelk.